Welcome to another episode of Behind the Bar with Will.
Are you about trading your vehicle? If you are, there are a few things you have to know. So if that sort of thing interests you, let's get started. Thank you for tuning in and watching my channel. When you want to get your pipes fixed, you call a plumber. When you want to get your roof fixed, you call a roofer. Well, when you want to get your car deal fixed, you call an experienced car salesman. And I'm not tooting my own horn, I've just been doing this for long enough. And if I can help someone today, that's what the goal is. So, trading in your vehicle. We want to talk about equity versus negative equity and some things that you can do to try and avoid a negative equity situation. So most vehicles today are purchased on a finance term. If you're capable of buying a vehicle cash outright, maybe this video isn't for you. But if you need financing, like most people, over said term to purchase a vehicle, you might find this video useful. So when entering into a contract agreement with a manufacturer, a lot of people today are taking 7 or 8 year loans just to get the payment where they want it to be, or what's affordable for them, or what they feel is affordable for them. And there's a difference, because you always have to enter into a contract knowing how you're going to exit, or with a rough idea of how you plan to exit that contract. So one of the questions that I often ask my clients is, how long do you plan to own this vehicle for? And it's important, because if you're financing a vehicle over 7 years, but you only plan to own it for 2, you're probably, unless you're putting some cash down or some equity down that you built up in another purchase, you're probably making the worst decision you can in terms of future value and equity. So when calculating depreciation of value of your vehicle, is your kilometers that you've driven. It's a factor in determining your value. Also the length of the term of your contract, or the length of term you've owned the vehicle for. So I want to tell you a story about Sally. Sally purchases a new car. She from said car dealership on a finance term. In an effort to keep her payments low, she finances for 7 years. So Sally needs her car to go to work, bought a vehicle at $30,000, and she financed it over this course of term. All right, everybody's with me so far. Now her commute is several hundred kilometers per day, because she commutes from, let's say, an hour and a half away. So her annual mileage, if she works 5 days of the week and doesn't use the car on weekends, is roughly 45,000 kilometers per year. So 4 years into this contract, Sally now has 180,000 kilometers on her car. And I realize this is an extreme situation and everybody doesn't commute this far, but it's important to relay the extreme if you want to understand where you are. And you should always know where you stand. I'll talk about that at the end. So if you use a lease guideline of overage on kilometers to determine how much that car is depreciated, and manufacturers typically in a lease contract, I'm not saying lease your vehicle directly, not yet anyway. All I'm telling you to do, and this is not financial advice, it's just my opinion as an experienced person in this business, is if you use a lease guideline of an average 15 cents per kilometer, a manufacturer on a lease will depreciate that vehicle by 60% over a 4-year term. And then if you go over your mileage, they'll charge you something to the tune of 15 to 17 cents per kilometer, depending on the exact vehicle. These vehicles often carry different charges, okay? But as an average, we'll use 15 cents. So that 45,000 kilometers per year equates to approximately a net value loss of $6,750 annually. So remember, she purchased a $30,000 car. So her annual loss on 4 years is $27,000. So what's that leave her with, guys? 30,000 minus 27,000, $3,000 residual value. Well, you say, well, she's only halfway through her loan. She still owes $18,390 at 0% interest over that contract. So now you're factoring in that Sally's car was in a write-off. Okay, so Sally's car is now, it's gone. Her insurance company says, you know what, Sally? We're going to be generous. We're going to pay you the retail value, that's what's in your contract, to purchase your car today with 180,000 kilometers on it, which would in turn work out to $6,000, let's say, or maybe 6,000 plus tax, so 6,690. Either way, she still owes $18,390, and she's received 6,000, leaving her with a negative $12,000 on a car that doesn't exist. Maybe it was stolen, maybe it had catastrophic engine failure, maybe something happened with that vehicle, a write-off and a deer jumped out in front of her, who knows what. But the bottom line is now she has to take that $12,000 and either pay it off herself individually, and she's probably not in a position to do that if she finds the car over 7 years. Or she can transfer that value towards a new car, which she will probably finance over 7 years again. So you see quickly how this situation is snowballing, and she's only owned for 4 years. So what the important thing that I want you to know today is that I'm not bashing Sally's decision. She made it because she knew what she was doing, and she entered into a contract, possibly not knowing how, well, definitely not knowing how it would end. So entering into the contract, if Sally took on a lease on a vehicle and that wrote in that mileage, then she would not owe any negative equity at the end of 4 years, and she would be able to walk into the dealership at square zero over again. So seeing her $12,000 net loss, was it really the worst decision for her not to lease her vehicle? And I'm not preaching leasing here, but it's one effective way to maintain equity value ratio that's respectable enough that you could carry a new vehicle every 4 years. If you buy the vehicle over 7 years and you owe more than it's worth, you should consider other factors, possibly even products like gap insurance. I mean, that would have paid off her debt in full. And I'm not selling any products today. I'm simply talking to you about ways that you can enter into a contract knowing where you're going to get out. And so for the average person, the situation is much less severe. You'll enter into a $50,000 vehicle purchase knowing fully that it's going to depreciate by about 60%, or you should know, over a 4-year period based on average lease contract. Leases carry a residual value and an upfront payment value. So the payments take care of all the loss of equity, and the residual is what a manufacturer is willing to buy that vehicle for back at the end with all this mileage and duration considered. And so why should you be any different? When you assess your future value and you buy a vehicle over 7 years or 8-year finance. So you either need to adjust the vehicle price and purchase a vehicle that you can afford over a shorter term, or understand the situation that you're going to be in at the end of this contract. So that's just my coaching for today. Take it the way you will. Not everybody has enough cash to put $12,000 down on their purchase, but certainly some people should be based on the mileage that they're driving. And so one cool thing that you can do to assess your situation whenever you want is, if you're local to me, you can come see me. I will conduct a free appraisal on your vehicle, and I will tell you how much you owe the bank. This shouldn't cost you anything. It doesn't cost you anything. Say, hey, local car sales guy, you probably don't live close enough to me to do that. If you do, great, come see me. If you don't, you're going to walk into your local dealership. You're going to say, I want to know how much I owe and how much my car is worth. I challenge anyone to go and do that, just so that you understand your current situation and you know how to better prepare yourself for your next deal to make it the right deal and not just any deal. Thank you. Please, if you found this information useful, like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.